Hey, in this lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what the Sat Chidananda becomes once we have the appearance of the dreaming mind. Now this is really important because moving forward, when we get down into Maya's narrative, we'll see how she completely changes what this awake state actually represents for the dreamer. So it's really important from the very start that we understand the true nature of what the Sat Chidananda is for the dreamer before Maya starts to tell him her narrative about what it is. So now that we have the dreamer, all of this, what we're discussing, is obviously only from the dreamer's perspective, from being on the wrong side of the first veil that makes it appear outside of the Sat Chidananda. Because if we remember that Sat Chidananda is literally nothing but an experience, it has no concepts in reality, then all these concepts that we're using are only relevant on this side of the veil. So having said that, when the dreamer arises, it has to think that it actually comes from somewhere. Much like a child in this world is born, it knows that it comes from its mother and father. So in much the same way that now that the dreamer is this kind of individual identity, it has to think that it comes from somewhere. So we could also think of the dreamer as the soul, as it's been described in other places. So just know that it can be used interchangeably with that concept. And it is also a son. So the son that it would think that it's a child of is the Sat Chidananda-ness. So we could start calling Sat Chidananda the father of the dreamer, so to speak. So the father, what we've called it here is Brahman. This is another Hindu term. But basically, it's the father of love. So if love is oneness and oneness is innocence, then we could say that Brahman is the father of love, or the father of oneness, which in reality is the experience of Sat Chidananda. So if we remember that moving forward, we will always know that the original origin of the dreamer comes from the father, and the father is love, and the father is one of oneness. So in reality, the actual Brahman father doesn't actually acknowledge anything outside of itself, so nothing on this side of the line. But that's why we have Shiva, the memory that is with the dreamer in the sleeping mind, that helps it actually remember that this is what the father is and will always be. It will always be a father of oneness, and therefore it's always going to be one that is inclusive, and therefore it's always going to be one that's going to be welcoming the dreamer back home to, in effect, re-become it once it wakes up. So keep that in mind. You're moving forward, just start questioning this type of idea that the origins could be like this for the dreamer, that beyond its dream, that it is actually coming from a state of oneness, a state of love, which, as I mentioned, is a experience of Sat Chidananda-ness. So keep the conversation going down below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next lesson.